Welcome back to Around the Block Volleyball. We finally made it to the end of the season for both the NCAA men's and the PVF, and it's time to discuss their upcoming playoffs. But first, let's recap the very end of their seasons. So first, I guess we can start with the PVF. I think their last couple of games didn't matter too much because playoff seedings was pretty...
It was pretty set.
Yeah, it was pretty set.
On what seeds were going to be in the playoffs and what weren't going to be in, yeah.
Yeah, I think the top four was pretty much secured from last week even. It was kind of just some final placement things. All right, let's start with Thursday from last week. The first game was Atlanta Vibe versus Indy Ignite. Meant a little bit. Vibe, it didn't really matter that much. Indy Ignite was still kind of fighting for their spot, but Atlanta won 3-2.
I think still just a little nice to see. So now it's just like, okay, Atlanta Vibe, they're still doing their thing.
Yeah, they're legit.
And Indy Ignite, they're right there, but, you know, at least Atlanta Vibe took this one.
Yeah, I would be more wary to count these too much because I'm not sure. Maybe the Indy Ignite were trying their hardest and their best, but Atlanta Vibe maybe trying to rest just a little bit in case, like for next week. But other game that night was Columbus Fury and San Diego Mojo. The Mojo 3-0'd Columbus. Doesn't really matter for these two teams. They're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, neither of them are in.
Yeah. So moving on to Friday, we had the Supernovas versus the Grand Rapids Rise, and Omaha won 3-1. That part pretty much killed any chance that the Rise had to make the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, it was a little close at the end there, but Indy ended up just squeaking by.
Yeah, I think like the Grand Rapids Rise, if they won this game, they'd have like the tiniest chance, but
yeah, it's still really close. But Indy Ignite, they just had, I think they're 2 games ahead, so they had just a little bit of breathing room there with that loss for the Rise.
Yep. And then next we had the Orlando Valkyries versus the Vegas Thrill. Orlando came out on top. This game also didn't matter. I don't think the standings could have changed in any way. Then we had Indy Ignite versus the San Diego Mojo, where San Diego actually won 3-1. Didn't affect the Mojo's chance for anything, but it did make things a little bit scarier for Indy. It still didn't really matter, but that's that. Then the final 2 games of the regular season. First, we had the Omaha Supernovas versus the Atlanta Vibe, the top 2 teams. Omaha came out on top, 3-1. Again, I wouldn't be too invested in these games predicting how the finals could potentially go because, you know, everyone wants to rest a little bit. You don't want to go too hard, get injured before the real playoffs. But Omaha is a strong team.
Yeah, I think if anything, these last few matches might have just changed the seeding a little bit, but it didn't it secured the seeding a little bit for maybe like Omaha and for Atlanta to be where they're at, but it doesn't really matter that much just because it would only change the matchups. I think that would have been the biggest thing, but it ended up being probably what most people were expecting. And it doesn't really matter that much because they're playing in Vegas, so there's no real home court advantage here.
Yeah, and they would be number 1 and 2 anyway, so they'd be on opposite sides of the bracket. It doesn't change too much. And then the final game of the PVF regular season, we had the Columbus Fury versus the Vegas Thrill, the two bottom teams, unfortunately. But the Columbus Fury, Vegas Thrill, it went to 5. The Fury came out on top.
I think it's good just for those teams just to have their final game. You know, play out the rest of the season, and then, you know, for the fans at least they get to see those teams.
Yeah, we're seeing probably the last of these roster constructions, so I guess that's interesting. It's unfortunate the Vegas Thrill lost the last set 15-5. But
yeah.
They brought it to 5, put on a show. What more can I ask for? And I think that pretty much does it for the PVF. We'll move on to the NCAA real quick before getting into playoffs because the NCAA only had 1 game.
This was like the play-in match, I guess, is what you can call it.
Yeah. The play-in match didn't really make that much sense,
I know. But again, this is the problem. And shout out to Matthew Houlihan. He's been talking about it a bunch, about trying to advocate for getting a bigger tournament, maybe making it, just extending it to 16 teams. I feel like would be really good. And his point was like, that's how you push these programs to incentivize to want to be good and to keep these programs like GCU. Again, hopefully GCU can say, but like that's a thing is, these teams like USC and UCI, like those were perfect teams that are like a perfect example of, if you look at it in like the athletic director's point, like, why would we want to put money into it if they can't even make the tournament still? And to me, that's, again, I don't want them to do that. So, I don't want them to do that. Yeah. But man, it's got to be, part of it starts with expanding the tournament.
For sure.
Because then it allows these teams that should be getting into the tournament versus teams that most people that just follow college volleyball might be like, oh, why are they in the tournament?
Yeah.
If they're not hardcore fans for each of these schools.
Yeah, and
because it's not to take away from the teams that made it in, but it'd be nice to see these other top teams that you would think can bring out the best of a tournament for college volleyball, like it does for the girls, and it could do that for the guys if you just expand the tournament a little bit more.
Yeah, it's like you don't really want to exclude these programs, some of them, because they did win their conference tournaments, and they still count for they still count for that. They're winning their own conferences, even if their conferences are weaker.
Yeah, so not trying to take a shot at them.
Yeah, you don't want to exclude them, but it also means that we're excluding a lot of these top teams.
That could just make the tournament way more fun.
Yeah.
It could just be way more fun if you have a UCI and a USC still in this, where they're still going to compete against the other teams, that it's just going to push the game a little bit better. And I feel like that can help out keeping the game and progressing men's volleyball a little bit more popularity-wise.
Yeah, it also gives us a little bit less odds for having this weird situation that we have this time with this random play-in game, where the play-in game is being played for the 7th seed.
Yeah, I don't know how they determine that.
Which, it doesn't make any sense.
Why is it not just for the 8th?
Yeah, it should be for the 8th, unless they're like, Fort Valley State, you guys are that bad? You guys...
Or you were that good to make the tournament, but not good enough compared to the rest of the teams. I don't know.
No,
I don't know how that happened.
Putting them 8 and making 2 other teams fight for 7 doesn't make any sense. And it just sucks for Damon, because they are technically in the tournament, but they don't get to go to the tournament. So they're not getting to travel out there. To go over what happened in the game, it was a Penn State 3-0 over Damon.
That was our prediction too. I think we both called out that Penn State was probably going to win that.
I feel like most people predicted that, honestly. Penn State really put it together towards the end of the season, and they're a more storied program from a little bit of a stronger conference.
Yeah, and they've been playing pretty well this whole season. It's just tough to hear more about them just because of the coverage overall, and that includes us. We mainly covered a lot of the Big West schools and those schools.
NPSF.
Yeah, but I think that's definitely a school that's been pretty good. I think it's weird, MPSF is Big Ten, but kind of not Big Ten.
Yeah,
because USC and UCLA is Big Ten now. I don't know what happened, but
volleyball conferences don't really make sense.
Yeah, they don't make sense.
They don't follow any of the traditional ones. But player of this game, we had Matthew Luoma again. He had 13 kills on 31% efficiency with 3 aces, 3 digs. It was a 3-0, so we're not going to see any crazy stats. And Penn State into the tournament. They're the 7th seed. Don't really know why still, but yeah.
But that sets up, we'll get into it later, but that sets up the picture for what the NCAA playoffs are going to look like. And it's going to be very interesting with how the bracket ended up.
Yep. So now let's just go straight into the playoffs. We'll go over the PVF first. It's a much smaller tournament, so it'll be a lot faster to go through. So their games start on Friday, May 9th. They have 4 teams in the playoffs, so it will be fast. First, we have the number 1 Omaha Supernovas versus the number 4 Indy Ignite.
I actually really like this game. I think this game is going to be really good. I just think that the Indy Ignite they had some really hot spots during the season, but then they kind of have cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, they were number 1 at some point, for sure.
So, but they've cooled off a little bit here. They actually ended up with a losing record, which is kind of surprising. But again, you cannot sleep on that team. I think Elena Scott has been really good in her transition over to pro. Obviously, Sydney Hilly, the best setter in the league. I think there's just a lot going for Indy Ignite here. But then you end up going against an Omaha Supernovas. Brooke Nunaviller, I swear, is just like superwoman. She's doing everything for that team. It's going to be a really good matchup.
Yeah, I think the Supernovas just look really, really strong right now.
Yeah.
Them and Atlanta have both like really hit their stride to end the season. So
yeah, really good time to get hot.
Yeah, they are peaking at like the perfect time. So unfortunately, I don't know how well it's going to go for the Indy Ignite. It'll definitely be a battle, but personally, I'm still taking the Supernovas to win this one.
I still think Omaha is going to take this one. I think Indy Ignite might just be outmatched here.
Yeah.
I think the offense for Omaha should be doing pretty well. It is interesting to see how maybe like an Azani Taylor might be able to adjust, maybe even blocking against like a Brooke Nunaviller. Like that'd be a really great matchup to see. Mm-hmm. But we'll see if Indy's defense can hold up. I think that's going to be important.
Yeah. I think also importantly is kind of that Omaha just has like the bench to rely on. If anyone's not like playing too great of a game, someone's struggling a little bit, they have a bench to rely on, which I think Indy doesn't quite have. So if anyone has an off day for Indy, it will get exploited by Omaha, and I think Omaha's a much harder team to exploit.
Yeah, it's a really deep team for Omaha.
Yeah, I mean, Allie Badenhorst is there, sometimes starting, sometimes coming off the bench.
She really can come in as just that extra pin that, you know, if you need extra firepower, she can definitely do it.
Yeah, so, I mean, we both took the Supernovas. I think we can probably move on. I think the next one is a much closer matchup, a much more intense matchup. We have the number 2 Atlanta Vibe versus the number 3 Orlando Valkyries.
This is a similar thing. I feel like they've actually had this is honestly like the best matchup that that we could have hoped for. I feel like Orlando was super dominant in the beginning. Atlanta was not doing very well in the beginning, and they pretty much crossed paths here.
Yeah.
I feel like Atlanta hit their stride. They were one of the hottest teams, and then Orlando also cooled off. I think it's really interesting how their seasons kind of intertwined. They kind of switched spots, I would say.
Yeah, they like flew past each other in trajectory.
Yeah. But man, Atlanta Vibe, I mean, I think they're just unstoppable. I mean, Corey Lewis, and then obviously Leah Edmond, Morgan Henson in the back row. There's just so much going for Atlanta Vibe. It's such a talented roster. Again, nothing wrong with Orlando. Orlando definitely has it too. So I think you really have to look for like a Brittany Abercrombie game, which I think she will have. It's just
how good of a game.
Yeah, will she have a good enough game that it's going to propel them to go against and beat the Vibe?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really iffy one. Just thinking about it, I mean, Kaz Brown obviously will be there, Natalie Foster, so they have the middle presence, but it's not like the Vibe are lacking in any way.
Yeah, not for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So it's like Orlando, their only real full advantage would be at the right side position, and it's kind of just about how much can Brittany Abercrombie do, because she will be matched up against Leah Edmond blocking her.
I think that could be huge for them just because of the size difference.
Yeah.
That could be important. I mean, they've done well enough in the past, but it'll be a really good matchup just across the net there.
Yeah, this is one where everyone's going all out for sure. So, I mean, there's a lot of money on the line. So
yeah.
We'll see how this goes. I probably still will take the Vibe. I think they're just too good.
Yeah, I think just the all-around roster makes me want to go with the Vibe as well.
Yeah, but I think this one, I have the odds a lot closer, maybe like a 60-40 type way, not like, I think the other one maybe I would have had a 75-25.
Yeah, I could see that. I think, honestly, I might actually have that Indy Ignite and Omaha game a little bit closer. I think that might just be because I like the Indy Ignite players. It might be that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the good thing about this is it's only 4 teams, so it's going to be the best 4 teams in the league.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty close games, hopefully.
Yeah. First round, there will be no games to fully sleep on.
Yeah, that's the good part for sure.
Yep. And then we would have the finals happening on Sunday. It's only the finals. There's no third place match. So it would be the winners from each of the previous games going up against each other. So we would have the Supernovas versus the Vibe. And we can make a prediction. I mean,
Yeah.
there's only 4 teams in general, so let's throw out a prediction.
I'm a rock with Omaha. I
Yeah,
think
that's fair.
Brooke Nuneviller is going to take it home. She's been pretty much, to me, in my mind, like one of the front runners for MVP just because of the all-around game. She's been doing it for the whole season. I think to me it's like Leah Edmond and then Brittany Abercrombie and Brooke Nuneville. I feel like those 3 have kind of just been there with how well they can impact the game in like different ways. But I'm going to take Omaha here. I'm going to take Omaha.
Yeah, that is fair. I'm kind of leaning that way, but I also kind of want to take the vibe just because I think the defense will be great from them. I think they did just lose, but I think they are a defense that could stop the Supernovas. And I think when everything is truly on the line, I think that their players elevate. So I'm going to go with the vibe here, but I'm going to say it's really close. I think it's maybe a 5-setter. So my prediction is the vibe in 5.
Whew.
So it'll be a great game, but now we can move on to the heftier tournament. We have the NCAA men's.
Oh, man.
Yep, we are starting off on Thursday, May 8th. We're going to have the first game being the number 3 UCLA versus number 6 Belmont Abbey. I think we already have our predictions. UCLA probably going to win this.
Yeah, I think Belmont Abbey has been like sleeper good though. I think I forgot who they played, and then watching that game was actually really nice to watch, just because it really showed, you know, like a school like that where you don't really get a lot of the publicity, at least the national publicity, and they looked pretty good. I'm like, damn, you know, I don't know, like UCLA is a tough matchup, but if they were playing against one of the other teams, they might actually have a shot. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think UCLA is just too good.
UCLA would be the one team where I think maybe they take it a little bit too lackadaisical. We've seen it from UCLA sometimes where they're not too invested in the match. They're playing a little loose, light, not fully locked in. So this would be the one where I could see a really big upset amongst the top 3 teams.
Yeah, they definitely had an up and down season a little bit, but
Yeah.
no, I still think talent will win here, so UCLA should go through.
Yeah, I was just trying to say that it's the only chance. I don't believe it at
Yeah.
all. I think UCLA is winning this one. And then we'll move on to the next game, which is number 2 Hawaii versus number 7 Penn State. Good job winning your one game, Penn State. I think your story ends here.
Yeah, I think Hawaii, after winning the Big West with the way that they did, they really are just the hottest team right now.
Yeah.
And I got to give it to them. Again, great run from Penn State, but I think it ends here. Hawaii's going to win this one for sure.
Yeah, maybe they can take a set off, so maybe Hawaii in 4, but I still think Hawaii's just one of the best teams in volleyball right now.
Yeah, man. And the whole concern about Tishrisky and if he's going to be healthy and if he's playing, is it going to matter? It has not mattered.
Yeah.
They've taken care of business. They've held it down even when he's not been playing. So we'll see. Again, I think keeping tabs on if he's going to play. But, man.
Will it even matter?
Yeah, I don't
know.
know.
For this first match, I don't think they need it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll matter.
Yep. So we can just move on to the next game where we have the number 1 Long Beach versus the number 8 Fort Valley State. I think we both think Long Beach is just winning this one.
Yeah, not too much to say here. Definitely just Long Beach.
Yeah.
Don't really know how much.
We might have Long Beach's most clip farm game of the tournament here.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I think this is just going to be a sweep, honestly.
Yeah. I
Calling
agree.
it how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing to argue here. Let's just move on to the final game. We have number 5 Pepperdine versus number 4 Loyola Chicago. It's probably just the best game of the quarterfinals.
For the quarterfinals, this has to be the best game. I feel like I want to go Pepperdine only because of their run in the MPSF. I thought that was insane. Ryan Barnett has put on a cape. I've been talking about Dylan Klein being the Superman, but Ryan Barnett has turned it up since conference playoffs, and I think he can keep it going. And they even won that game against USC without Cole Harkey really doing too much, and they still won the game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like Pepperdine's going to win this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. I think I'm most interested in seeing that Parker Van Buren versus Ryan Barnett like direct matchup, if they go for the direct matchup between them two. Because I think I'm going to pick Loyola Chicago. I believe in Parker Van Buren and the rest of Loyola Chicago. They're a very good team. And maybe Pepperdine has cooled off a little bit in these 2 weeks, but who knows? I'll just pick Loyola Chicago here, but it could really go either way.
Yeah. I'm not saying that this is gonna be an easy game. Definitely not. I think it's gonna be 4 or 5.
Yeah, hopefully we have a 4 or 5 setter, because the other ones we kind of thought they were gonna be a little 3-0s.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. So, yeah. Hopefully this is the match for the quarterfinals.
We need a fun game.
Yeah, at least one game for Thursday.
Yep. So then we'll have the next round, the semifinals, on Saturday, where the winners of all these matches will play against each other. So winner of UCLA versus Belmont Abbey versus winner of Hawaii versus Penn State. So we had UCLA versus Hawaii. What did you think of this potential matchup?
I mean, if this is the matchup, which very likely, I think it's just Hawaii.
Yeah.
I don't want to count out the champs here.
Yeah,
back-to-back champs, trying to three-peat. It's an awesome story, but I don't know if they have it this year.
Yeah.
I just think that Hawaii has been such a hot team. It's going to be really tough. It's going to be a really good matchup, though. Really good matchup.
Yeah, I agree. This is where the games really start getting fun. I'm going to believe in Hawaii here. I think they just look too good. So
Yeah, I think it really matters on, can you get a big game from Zach Rama and Cooper Robinson? And then obviously, conversely, it's going to happen for Adrian Rohr and Louis Sakonoko. I think that's what's going to matter the most. How are the pins going to do? And I think that's probably going to determine it, just because I feel like otherwise, Rowan, Tread, I think you kind of take your pick.
Yeah, you can go either way.
You can kind of take your pick there. The middles have both been pretty impactful.
Yep.
So, yeah, it is a really close matchup, though.
Yeah, I feel like Hawaii will probably be the team that locks in a little bit more. So that's why I'm going with them. On paper, it is a really close matchup, though.
Yeah, but I think Hawaii's got this one.
Yeah. So then we'll move on to the bottom side of the bracket, where we have probably Long Beach versus either Pepperdine or Loyola Chicago, depending on who we picked. I'm still taking Long Beach to come out of this side of the bracket no matter what.
I think so, too. I think this one is going to be not as close.
Yeah, this is, to me, this will be a little bit less of a game to watch.
Yeah, I think this one only matters if Long Beach slips.
Yeah.
I think the discourse around it is probably going to be if Long Beach lost the game versus the other team really winning it. I think that's kind of how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Is Long Beach going to mess around and they're going to end up losing like what happened against Hawaii, or are they going to be focused, locked in, and then they're just going to beat either one of these teams and they're just going to move on to the final?
Yeah, I just think that Long Beach hasn't lost to any teams at the other two's level so far this year, and I don't think it's going to start now. I think they're still going to come out on top for this one, so I'm going to have Long Beach coming out of it.
Yeah,
Predicting
I think so
that
too.
Big West matchup in the finals.
Yeah, it's crazy that that's just what's going to happen, but I also think so. I think maybe UCLA is a shoo-in, potentially, but yeah, for right now, I think I also have Hawaii and Long Beach.
Yes. And then we would have the finals on Monday, May 12th, which is a little weird to have it on a Monday. I guess they skipped over Mother's Day so they can let everyone be with their moms, which is cool.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yeah. And then for our predictions, we had Long Beach versus Hawaii most likely, but also potentially UCLA.
I'm taking Hawaii, man.
Ooh.
Give me Hawaii. It's their time.
Yeah.
It's time for them to win one. I think Tread has been so good. I think I saw so much from that conference final that makes me think that if the Pins for Hawaii have a good game, they really have a good shot at winning this thing. I think, and they don't even have to have a really good offensive game. I feel like they had just an okay offense game, but defensively they did so well. Serve receive was on point, and then the rest of it, they took care of it.
Yeah, that's a fair prediction. I want to lean a little bit Hawaii, but I'm going to take a little bit more of a cop-out answer here, and I'm going to say it depends on how well the Hawaii fans travel out to Ohio, because it's pretty far. And I know the Hawaii fans do travel like pretty well, but I feel like having the crowd there for you really mattered in the Big West finals. And if they don't have necessarily the same backing, maybe Long Beach doesn't get in their own heads as much. So I'll pick Long Beach here if the Hawaii fans don't travel out as well.
I guess, yeah, that did matter a lot. I think
Yeah.
that does help a lot that Hawaii was hosting and the fans were doing real well. I thought that was
They're
really
right
cool.
in their ears.
That was actually really cool.
Yeah.
But I believe in Hawaii fans, and honestly, I believe in the Hawaii team. I believe in them so much that I think they're gonna win it.
All right, yep. My cop-out answer, I'm going with Long Beach for now. If Hawaii travels, then I just underestimated Hawaii, and Hawaii deserves to win, so...
Cop out
Cop out.
answer. Cop out answer.
Yep. But now we can move on to the next part of our podcast. We have the all PVF teams and the NCAA All Americans both announced. We can just run through both of the teams, I guess, or all the teams pretty quick, and then discuss afterwards. For the PVF, we'll start off with their all-league first team. I'll read this one off. First team, they had Leah Edmond from the Vibe and Morgan Hens from the Vibe. Then from the Indy Ignite, they had Sydney Hilly and Azani Teeler. Then from the Supernovas, they had Brooke Nunaviller. And then from the Valkyries, they had Brittany Abercrombie and Shampoo Gudapard. So that's their first team. Go ahead with the second team.
Second team is going to be Corey Lewis and Marley Monserez from Atlanta Vibe. You have Ali Bastianelli from Grand Rapids Rise, along with Carly Snyder from Grand Rapids. Natalia Valentine Anderson from Omaha. And then Kaz Brown from Orlando and Ronica Stone from San Diego.
Now we can discuss it a little bit. The first thing I wanted to talk about, which I think also we had this idea for the NCAA ones as well, is that these teams are like not balanced in the by position. Like the first team has no middles. I don't understand it.
They tried a little bit better for these. I think it worked out a little bit better than the All Americans did, but that's its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that when there's two teams, if you do it by position or like somewhat by position or not. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is really weird when there's no middles, there's like no middle representation at all.
Well, they all just got pushed to the second team, which I'm like, that's fine, I guess, but like, what's up with that?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
I think my problem, especially for the PVF, is that they like kept it to like a true team where it's like, 7 players for each team.
Yeah.
So it is supposed to be like, this is a team, but when you look at the composition of it, it's not.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, I'm like looking at the teams though, and honestly, I thought they did a pretty good job. Obviously, like position, if you worried about the positions, I think that's a different thing. But I mean, if I look at that first team and I'm like, okay, these might be like the most impactful 7 players in the league.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I don't think I have any like snubs that I want to call out for it. It is more just I feel like there should be something spread out a little bit, kind of like how the NBA teams do it. You know, it's like, you want some positioning because you want to know, like who were the best kind of in this position. Like they did give like best in position awards out to people, but it's like for the middles, I'd like to know, okay, who were the 2 best middles of the year, even though it was very close. Maybe they didn't want to make that decision, but that's just my only gripe with it. Otherwise, I think in terms of who they included amongst the 2 lists, I have no gripes.
Yeah, I think with the players that are in, I feel really good about it. Man, I mean, it is kind of crazy when...
I might have liked to see...
Atlanta Vibe has like 4 players on this thing.
Yeah.
That is a little crazy to me. I mean, it makes sense though. It is such a talented roster.
Yeah, but like, maybe I'd like to see... I mean, there are teams that have no representation, and I guess it happens, but I would like to see another libero, maybe. I feel like it's a shame that only one libero is getting recognition, being Morgan Hens. Maybe Elena Scott.
Yeah.
She didn't start off the season playing, I guess, would be the one thing. Like, she was a little bit more of a bench player then, but I thought she got her spot pretty fast and could have earned her way on, but...
Yeah, and she ended up playing a lot.
Yeah.
When she started playing, she was playing a lot, and she ended up playing a lot of games and a lot of sets as well, so... Yeah, I mean, she'd probably be the only player if I were to think, oh, let's get another lip in there.
Yeah.
Then I'd feel pretty good about that. But besides that, I feel pretty good about how it ended up. I mean, Shara Venegas from San Diego also could have had a good shot in there as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't want to take anyone's accomplishment away from them, so...
I don't tear anyone
I thought
down.
they did a pretty good job, though.
Yeah, I think it's just hard when there are like big positional differences in volleyball. So in my opinion, at least, not including two liberos kind of sucks. I'll have the same problem with the All Americans where it's like, you know, it's obviously the liberos will never have the same counting stats as other positions.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you you kind of are discrediting them, you know? You just don't, like, some stats don't get tracked, and I personally would like to give them recognition.
All right, what about these individual awards?
Individual awards, I didn't really have any issues with them.
I thought they made a lot of sense here. I mean, here, we can read them
out for us.
Right, so Libero of the Year, Morgan Hentz, obvious.
Shocker.
I think that one was obvious.
Yep.
Outside Hitter of the Year, Brooke Nunaviller, again. I think that one made the most sense. Lee Edmond obviously had a really good season again, but I would give it to Brooke Nunaviller just for the totality of the season, and she was doing it the whole time. Middle blocker, Ali Bastianelli.
Deserved.
Best blocking middle.
Yes, and
Yeah, not even
enjoy
close.
your retirement.
I know. Congratulations.
Going
on a
out
really
on
good
top
career.
of the PVF.
Yeah. And then opposite hitter of the year, Brittany Abercrombie. Also,
Shocker.
yeah, pretty easily. I think the only one here would be Azani Taylor, but Brittany Abercrombie did it the whole season. It was amazing what she was doing. Setter of the year, Sydney Hilly. Also made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we both think best setter in the league.
Yeah.
Most inspirational player award. That one was very interesting. This one also went to Char Venegas from San Diego, and I thought that made sense. I thought what she was doing was really good, and it was a really good story for her.
Yeah, I think she promotes the game very well. She, for her home country, does a lot for the volleyball community. So
I think that's really important, right? Just growing the game. I feel like that helps a lot.
yeah,
And then last one was a Rising Star Award, which I think this is a good one to have.
Yep.
I thought it would have been kind of cool if League One did it, but it's kind of hard. You'd have to just only do like first time pros
yeah,
or something like that because
Yeah.
it's only the first year.
yeah.
But this one went to Corey Lewis, which was
Deserved.
I mean also just one of the best middles in the league for sure.
Yeah, yeah. She
was
just
so
hopped
good.
in and was like, "Yeah, I'm like that,"
Yeah.
and established herself as one of the top middles.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Yep. Nice draft pick, Atlanta. All right. But yeah, those are their season awards, individual awards. I don't have any problems with it.
No.
They picked pretty well. I mean, a couple of them were pretty obvious. We'd only have problems if they didn't pick these people. So,
Yeah, I think I would have only had an issue with it if it weren't these players. So
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep. Well done from them. And let's move on to the NCAA Men's All Americans.
Now this is where we have problems.
Yep.
Let's just get it out of the way. Eric Shoji already mentioned this. You feel this way, I feel this way. It was absurd that there was literally no libero.
What? Jacob Riley from Pepperdine made it onto the second
Yes.
team.
There was only one libero that was an All-American, and it was on the second team.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? I
And-
don't know how that happens because arguably that is the most important position just because of the way that the game has gone. The serve receive is so big and the defense is so important. And there were star-studded liberos throughout the season.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this happened where you only have one libero and that's second team. And then there was like 4 or 5 of them in honorable mentions, but none of them got a chance on All-Americans.
Yeah, I already said this previously, but it doesn't make sense to not do things by position because in volleyball, positions have very different impacts. So you can't compare the impact of one position to another when you're doing honors like this. And these teams are like 12 people each. So it makes no sense to not include, you can't cut one spot out of 12 for a libero. Like, that really doesn't make any sense to me. The positional distribution of a lot of things, super weird. The first team, I do think they all deserve it, but the first team has 3 setters.
Yeah.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, the setters that made it make sense, but yeah, it is very interesting.
Yeah. The first team also only got 1 middle blocker.
I thought there were some really important middles.
Yeah. I don't know. The impact of the game for each position is different. And I think, the way that men's game is right now, maybe you don't set the middles too much, but they matter a lot for blocking. Block presence always matters a lot.
They set sometimes too, and out of system. Like, they do a lot of things, and yeah, I just think the player distribution is really weird. Yeah. And then, like, it's 12 players per team. I don't know why you just don't do 3 teams, and then you can reduce the amount.
You can do 8 per.
Yeah, 8 or something like that. 10, I don't know. Do something like that. But
it's a little weird.
I don't know why you restrict it to only 2 when there are so many good programs out there. Mm-hmm. And again, they still screwed up on the positional distribution for the teams. It still doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, we've ranted about it for a little bit, but let's read out the names first. I'll start us off with the first team. First, we have Ryan Barnett from Pepperdine, then Halir Heno from UC Irvine, Dylan Klein, USC, Moni Nikolov, Long Beach, Jalen Phillips from CSUN, Cooper Robinson from UCLA, Tread Rosenthal from Hawaii, Adrian Rohr also from Hawaii, then Andrew Rowan and Cam Thorne from UCLA, Parker Van Buren from Loyola, and Skylar Varga also from Long Beach. So that's the first team.
And then second team is Anthony Sherfan from UCSC, and then Daniel Fabikovich from Loyola. We had Nathan Flater from McKendree, Nolan Flexen from UCI, Cole Hartke from Pepperdine, Darius McRaven from Long Beach, Nicodemius Meyer from Loyola, Oguzano Oguz from Lewis, Zach Rama from UCLA, Jacob Riley from Pepperdine, the one libero that made it on. Just
Props
saying.
to you.
Just saying. Christian Tetrisky from Hawaii, and Parker Tompkinson from USC.
Yeah, so those were their choices.
Again, I honestly don't hate the choices. I think the players that made it on are very well deserving. I just think there's an issue with the positions. The fact that there were no liberos besides Jacob Riley is insane to me. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
And I think Jacob Riley has been playing really great, but
for sure,
in my opinion, I don't know if he was the best libero in all of NCAA this season.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy to say.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think that's crazy to say. I mean, I think we both have a guy in mind.
I have more than one guy in mind, honestly.
I mean, I have one that I'm like, for sure he should be there. At least on one of these teams, but he's not. He's an honorable mention. So
yeah, I mean, everyone deserves their spots on this list. It's just, again, you want to see a couple more liberos. In general, still not a lot of middle representation across these lists. I think it's 4 total amongst 24. 4 middles, 1 libero. I don't know. It places high priority on these pin positions, which I do think matter a lot. But when it comes to volleyball, you can't combine everything like that. So that's kind of all I have to say about these All-American things. I guess there were some other awards that came out that we can talk about.
Yeah, there were some other awards. Newcomer of the Year,
yes.
Moni Nikolov.
Surprise.
That's a shoo-in.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was any other year, you might have more conversation because there were a lot of other really good newcomers. So definitely would have been a good conversation, but Moni obviously takes this one. Player of the Year is actually not announced yet. Mm-hmm. We'll actually know that on Friday.
Yep.
So we'll be looking forward to that. Obviously, that is one that I'm always looking forward to. I just want to see what AVCA has to say. But hey, man, with the way that they did this stuff, I don't really know if I'm going to expect anything good from them.
Yep.
Coach of the Year, Nikki Sandlin. Let's go for McKendree. Congratulations. This was awesome.
Yep.
I think it was very well deserving. McKendree was so good and definitely slept on before the season for sure. And then Assistant Coach of the Year, Brian D'Amico. Sorry if I butchered that. And this is from GCU. Awesome that GCU got some recognition.
Get another award in there.
So we can keep GCU.
Yeah, but absolutely deserving. I mean, he was the assistant coach and then halfway through had to become the head coach.
Yeah.
That's like one of the hardest things you can do.
I think the only argument is like, oh, should he get the reward?
Because he
became the head coach. Hey, the assistant coach doing that job of becoming the head is crazy. So
hey, he only signed up. He was only hired to be the assistant. So he is basically just the assistant. And then that pretty much does it. Maybe we can try and predict ourselves the player of the year if we want. We'll find out soon, but let's just make one last prediction, I guess.
This is tough.
Yeah.
I feel like there's good mention for Moni Nikolov, obviously.
Yep.
I think we've been talking about it. Dylan Klein definitely had a shot at this. I think maybe if they had more success during conference play and making the tournament, maybe that would be easier for him to get that argument.
Yeah, I think the same thing applies to Hilir Heno.
For sure. Because obviously he was super impactful.
Yeah.
But I think the conference play and not being in the tournament hurts both of them.
Definitely not being in the tournament, not making it.
Yeah. Which is really not their fault. But
yeah, it's so stupid.
But yeah, I don't know if I can pick either of those two, though.
Yeah.
Just because of that. Even though I would really like to pick Dylan Klein, but...
Yeah. I honestly had... If this was end of the season before the tournaments, I might have picked Hilir Heno to double up on it. But when you don't make the tournament, it just doesn't feel right.
It's tough now. Like, maybe you go like a Cooper Robinson. He's been super impactful.
Yeah. But then you could go the same way where it's in their playoff tournament.
They're in the tournament at least, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just, for now, I'll say if they wanted to give it to someone in the tournament, I'm going to say they're just going to give it to Moni Nikolov.
Probably.
But I still think, ignoring that, I would want to give it to Hilir Heno.
I think that's fair.
But I just don't think he can get it realistically.
Yeah.
So I think it sucks.
I mean, yeah. So let's say if I'm giving like a real prediction, they're probably going to give it to Moni.
Yeah.
I think that's just what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But who I would have wanted to win it, I'd probably say Dylan Klein.
Yeah.
That's who I would say, just because of his star power and just how well he did the season. But obviously conference play, playoffs, stuff like that, it didn't really work out.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we both have our dream predictions and then our realistic predictions, so there we go.
Yeah. The thing is there anyone that from maybe Hawaii that could earn it? It's just tough because that whole team is just so balanced.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
I think that's a team thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could have been Tatrisky, but injured.
I know, yeah. And that would have been really cool if he got it right.
Yeah, when your replacement also does that well.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's anything like a knock on his skill, but it's just like, when your replacement is doing almost just as good as you, it feels like, we can't give it to you because your wins over replacement. If I'm to reference a baseball stat, your WAR, not the same.
I mean, he already, I think in their minds for ABCA, like he already fell off because of the injury. Yeah. He was put second team. Mm-hmm. I think he probably could have been first team. It would have been tough, but he could have been first team.
Yeah. If he finished out the season, I believe he would have been.
Yeah, because Parker Van Buren, obviously, Jalen Phillips is there, but Tatrisky is right there with him as like a super dominant right side. Mm-hmm. So
it's tough. It feels go Parker Van Buren, I think, as a potential. But I feel like he's more of a dark horse just because he comes from, not to say a weaker conference, but like the competition wasn't exactly the same. So like the standout performances are there. It's just against less ranked competition.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's still like that West bias.
Yeah.
That Western Conference, like West Coast bias versus like the Midwest. But he definitely had an amazing season though. So Parker Van Buren's right there.
Yep. So we'll find out in a couple days anyways.
Yeah.
We'll have it all, actually everything about the playoffs and the end of the year, we'll have it all figured out for the next one. So we'll talk about it then.
What about honorable mentions? You want to talk about the honorable mentions real quick, or you got anything? I mean, again, for me, it really is just,
I honestly...
there's so many damn liberos here that it bothers me that they're all here versus not being on one of the All-American teams.
I don't even think it's worth talking about the honorable mentions just because the list is so big, honestly.
There's a lot of them.
I think the biggest thing of note is that the list is freaking huge and ABCA is stupid.
They should have just made a third team.
Yeah, make it a third team or cut this list down because, like, when you have an honorable mention list...
it's less illustrious of an honor for the honorable
It's a
mentions.
longer list than the first and second team combined.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so... I don't think there's any point in running through it for sure because the list is that long.
Yeah.
But
I mean, okay, here's the big one. There were 3 other liberos that were left off that I thought could have made it. Johnny Dykstra from USC, obviously. I thought Kellen Larson has been amazing for Long Beach, and if you have anything to say about it, his team did really well. And I think a large part of that was because of him. Obviously, you have Moni and stuff like that, but he's been diming up. I think he's been playing really good defense for them. And then the obvious one was Aleo Choi. I thought that was the one that was like, if there's one guy that's going to make it, I thought it was going to be him as well. So,
yeah,
I don't know what happened here.
His part in that is definitely like the biggest thing that people are talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know what happened here. I think it might be like number of players in the teams, but...
I guess, but yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Like we've been talking about the entire time, AVCA... This list, it's a little
crazy.
stupid.
It's crazy.
Yep. That's all I got for honorable mentions because the list is 40 people long or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah. Let's move on to the rally round. Welcome back to the rally round where we play our drafts, do our blind rankings, and play some other games. And this week, we're bringing back drafts. It's been a hot minute since we did one. And to go off of the All-American honorable mention talk that we kind of finished off the other segment with, let's do an All-American honorable mention draft for the NCAA. So
yeah, I think that's good just because you've pretty much talked about all of the All-Americans at this point.
Yeah.
And definitely want to just highlight these other guys that definitely were deserving and had really good seasons as well.
Yeah, and I think it makes it a little bit more interesting so we're not just picking the top players again like we kind of do sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's draft teams using the NCAA All-American honorable mentions. All right, and Michael will have the first pick this time.
Whew. I could go so many different ways here. This is so tough. I could go so many different ways.
Yep. The list is huge. There are a lot of good players to pick from.
Yeah, but I want to lock down one of my pins. So I'm going to start with an outside here. I'm going to actually take Trent Moser from GCU. Shout out GCU. Let's save the program, please. But Trent Moser, he's been amazing this year.
Absolutely fair. Let me cross that off my list so I don't have to... I know I'm not picking him. All right. You got your one pin for now. It's time for me to move on. Let me block up, I think... Let's start off with the middle. I think my favorite middle on this list right now is Stilian Delibosov. So, from CSUN. So, that'll be my first pick. Let's get a middle. Great middle. And then, moving away from that, I think I also want to take one outside here. I'm going to pick Teo Snowy from Stanford. I think, especially at the end of the season, he was really, really showing out.
Yeah.
And I think he could have made that push for actually making one of the All-American teams, but he didn't get it, but he'll go perfect on my team here.
Yeah, he was really nice for them. Man.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how I want to do this.
It's honestly all vibes now.
I know. I think I want to take... I thought he was super impactful in the time that he was given, even though it wasn't a lot. I'm going to give Will Darcy. I'm going to get him from UCI. I thought he was a really good right side, especially, once they moved Nolan Flexen. I thought he actually made the transition okay, only because of how well he was playing.
Yeah.
I thought that was super good.
I had him on my list too.
I know it was probably... I don't know if it's crazy, but I wanted him here.
No, that's a good pick. for sure.
And let me lock in my lib. I'm going to take Aleo Choi.
Fair also. I think that, like we said earlier, that was one of the libs where he probably should have made one of the All-American teams. So good pick from you. We did include both of them, I guess. All right. I think since you have those locked down, I'm just going to finish off in the middle then. I'm going to go with Micah Goss from UCI.
That's your guy.
Yeah. Guy's an absolute beast. Just a freshman. I think he's part of the insane block presence that UCI did have.
Mm-hmm.
Gets a lot of block touches. I think probably didn't make the first team or All-American teams because doesn't really get utilized like that. I think there are some games where he pops off, but UCI did go some games without really getting him in there. So that's it for my middles. And then, where do I want to go from here? I think I'm going to pick up my setter here. I'm going to keep the CSUN connection here. I'm going to go Donovan Constable from CSUN as my setter.
He's been really good.
Yeah. I think, again, he's probably the next best setter of...
It's up there, yeah.
Yeah, those not included.
Yeah, like top 5. I think he's definitely in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the other guy, I feel like. I'm going to take Caleb Blanchette. I thought he did an amazing job this season. USC did really well. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in the playoffs, but he had a really good season, so I feel really good about that.
Yep, the other top setter to pick from.
And then let me get my other pin. I'm going to get Luke Benson from BYU.
Yep, that was also on my list. Okay, well, I think we have no more overlap, so I can just pick things. All right, let's just start off with the right side. I'm going to take Shane Vetzel from Ohio State. I think he is like their main go-to guy, get a bunch of kills. So he'll be a perfect option on my team. And then for my libero, I'm going to get Johnny Dykstra from USC. I think it's definitely up there. I think he could have been included if we were to include more liberos on the All-American list. But
he could have been on MPSF as well. I'm pretty sure he was honorable. He was only on the freshman team.
Yeah, I agree.
He definitely could have been on that list as well for MPSF.
Yeah, I don't know. Libero's getting too disrespected this year, so I'll take Johnny Dykstra.
Shout out Eric Shoji, man. He be talking about the libero disrespect.
Yep, understandably.
So that was your 2.
Yep, and now you just got your middles?
My middles, yeah. My first middle is going to be Kurt Neuster. I thought he's also just been really impactful for Hawaii. He's been really, really good, so I still feel pretty good about taking him here.
My favorite block of the season.
Yeah. That was nasty.
It's tough. There's a lot of middles on this list because they didn't include a lot of middles on their All-American teams.
I'm going to do it. Let me take James Eady from Pepperdine.
Okay. Get the Pepperdine representation in there. They were very good. And that'll bring me to my last pick, which is an outside hitter. And let's go from my favorite team, UC San Diego. We're taking Josh Sellinger as my final outside. Welcome to the team. Absolutely deserving. And those are our teams for our All-American honorable mention draft. So we can read them through. Just remind you guys who we picked. I can go first. So my setter is Donovan Constable from CSUN. My outside hitters are Teo Snowy from Stanford and Josh Sellinger from UCSD. For middle blockers, I have Stilian Delibosov from CSUN also. And then Micah Goss from UCI. And then for my right side, I have Shane Vetzel from Ohio State. And then my libero is Johnny Dykstra from USC.
For my team, I got Caleb Blanchette as the setter from USC. I put my middles as James Eady from Pepperdine, Kurt Neuster from Hawaii, and then my outsides were Trent Moser from GCU and Luke Benson from BYU. My right side was William Darcy from UCI, and then my lib was Aleo Choi from Hawaii.
These are 2 very, very good teams.
Still insane teams when it's honorable mentions.
Yep, feels like most of these guys could have been on a All-American third team.
Yeah, really.
We'll get there one day. So, who do you guys think won this one? Or if you guys could make a team using anyone left over, let us know and we'll see how it matches up. Maybe we slept on some guys. You guys have another full team for us. But that means we can move on, and our next games are a little bit different. We're gonna do some PVF stuff first. So we're gonna start off by I'm gonna ask Michael to rank some of the PVF first team in a certain stat category. I'm gonna have him rank them, and if he gets it in the correct position, he'll get 2 points. In a neighboring position, he'll get 1 point. And if it's further than that, it'll be worth 0 points. So, can you correctly rank the PVF first team in points scored? Total points scored on the season. Yeah, you can look at the first team list.
I got it here.
The first team list if you need it.
It's just tough.
It is tough. I mean, there are definitely some players where they're going to be a little bit towards the bottom, just positionally.
Right, yeah.
Let's be real. I hope you're not ranking Morgan Hens at the top.
No. I mean, we can get that one out of the way. She's at the bottom.
Yo, come on.
Let's get that one out of the way. Okay. That shows how good she is, though. Hey, man. That shows how good she is when she's not scoring any points, but she's that important. All right, number 1, I think it has to be Brittany Abercrombie. I feel like she's been so good.
Okay, you'll have that at your number 1.
The whole season. Yeah. Let me go.
I think this is where it gets a little tougher. These next 3 is where you got to make some tough picks.
I'm going to go Leah Edmond here.
Also
at number 2.
Pick,
Yeah.
Reigning MVP.
Whew. And the next one is tough. It's Azani Taylor or Brooke Nunaville. I feel like they're both so good, though.
Yeah. I mean, we have the outside hitter of the year.
I know.
As an option. And then the other one is another great point scorer for her team.
I think I'm going to go Azani Taylor, number 3 here. I think it just makes sense. Just because of her position, she's able to just worry about scoring.
Yeah.
And then Brooke Nunaville, 4th. Now it's the setters.
Now it's really confusing.
Now this is setters. This is just tough.
Yeah.
Now it's just which one's more aggressive and who serves maybe a little bit better, who blocks a little bit better.
I don't even know if you can really tell.
I know, yeah, that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I'll go Sydney Hilly 5, and then Gwedpard at 6. Let's see. I think, I mean that's close enough. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna stress about those 2.
Yeah, I mean you'll get points for them either way because we know. So let's go over the list. At number 1, we had Brittany Abercrombie. She had 503 points.
Damn.
So she was out here scoring.
Damn.
Yep. Number 2, you had Leah Edmond. And number 2 was Leah Edmond, right behind Brittany Abercrombie with 496 points.
Oh my God. Okay, so it was really close.
Yeah. It was a lot closer than it felt. So Leah Edmond was right there.
Wait, isn't that quick maths? That is like 20 sets that they won by themselves. Pretty much. That is insane.
Yep, they won. They're winning a lot of games for the teams.
That is crazy.
And then number 3, you had Azani Taylor, and number 3 was Azani Taylor.
Let's go.
You had 464 points for her.
Wow.
So still up there, but not quite the 2-person race we had at the very top.
Right. Yeah.
And then number 4, you had Brooke Nunaville. Number 4, Brooke Nunaville. Should be obvious here. She had 413 points scored. So still very much up there.
And the defense too.
Yeah. Defense is a big part of her game. Can't discount that. And then this is where we make or break your perfect score. I'll give you a chance to change it if you want. You had Sydney Hilly, then Shampoo Goodepard. If you want to switch it, you can. Works either way.
Nah, stick with my gut here.
Sticking with your gut. And you are correct to stick with your gut because at number 5 and number 6 is Sydney Hilly, then Shampoo Goodepard. Sydney Hilly had 99 points. Shampoo Goodepard had 31 points on the season.
Okay.
Not too offensive.
Right.
And you were correct to put Morgan Hens at last. She had 0 points scored on the season.
Right.
Not really serving. Didn't get a bump kill by accident. A dig kill. So you did great. You got perfect score here.
Let's go.
Well done.
Let's go.
Well done.
I'm locked in.
Yep. So.
Oh, shit.
Not locked in.
Okay.
And that does it for that ranking game. So good job to Mike. Well done. Now we can move on to yours.
All right, next up, we're going to keep it with the all-league teams for PVF here. But this one, we're going to do the second team, and we're going to look at blocks. So can you correctly rank the PVF second team in blocks?
All right. This is where I think it goes something similar that happened to your list. We got some 4 middles here.
Yeah, there's some really easy stuff, but then also it's hard with this many middles.
Yeah. So we know who I want to separate off the list. So let's start from the top. Ali Bastianelli, block queen. Obviously, she's going number 1. Now's where things get a little bit tougher for me. At number 2, I want to put down Kaz Brown. I think I had her as one of the best middles in the league.
She sure was.
Yeah.
She definitely was.
Yeah, I like her there. And then at number 3, I want to put the newcomer of the year. I want to put Corey Lewis. And obviously that means at number 4, I have to put down Ronica Stone because I'm not putting down a non-middle.
That'd be crazy, right?
Yeah, if I did that, you all just go after me for making a dumb choice. Then I'm just going to have to pick Carly Snyder at number 5 because I'm not picking setters over and outside. And here's where things get a little bit tough for me.
You got 2 setters here.
We're back at the setters where who do I really think was getting more blocks as a setter?
Yeah.
Let me try and think about their heights, honestly. They might be a little bit close. I think I don't want to say anything wrong. On the court, Marley Monserez looks taller. I'm going to put her at number 6.
Okay.
And Natalia Valentin Anderson, I'm going to put her at number 7 because I think she looks shorter on the court. I don't really know. Kind of just made that up. But that's my ranking.
All right. So at your number 1 spot, you put Ali Bastianelli.
Yes, sir.
And at number 1, we had Ali Bastianelli with 89 blocks.
Block
Insane.
queen.
Yeah, and it's not close. It's not that close, by the way. Not that close.
Woo!
Next, you had Kaz Brown. Kaz Brown was actually 3rd with 73 blocks.
Oh,
so you only get 1 point there.
Dang.
Then you put Corey Lewis at 3. And Corey Lewis was actually number 4.
So another 1-pointer. Oh.
So another 1-pointer. She had 58 blocks. So there's actually a drop off there.
Okay.
But offensively, Corey Lewis was amazing this year.
Mm-hmm.
Then at number
4,
you had Ronica Stone. But Ronica Stone was actually number 2 here.
Oh.
77 blocks. So it was just above what Kaz Brown had. So not that different, but no points on that one.
Dang.
Next, you had Carly Snyder. And she actually had 50 blocks. So she's right at 5 here. She's actually pretty close to Corey Lewis too, actually.
Okay, pop off. I underestimated you. Maybe I wouldn't have been crazy to put an outside at number 4. Or yeah.
So 2 points there for your number 5 spot.
Nice.
Next, you put Marley Monserez over Natalia Valentin Anderson. And you actually got those both correct for your 6 and 7 spot here. Marley Monserez got 16 blocks. And Natalia Valentin Anderson got 12. So it was pretty close there too.
Woo!
four block difference there. So it was tough.
4 blocks. It is very close, but at that low of numbers, maybe it's not too close. But not my best performance. The middle is really tripping me up there.
Yeah, that's definitely tough here. So how would you guys have done?
Yeah.
Tough with the middles.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
So NCAA came out with the All Americans for this season, and there were 10 All Americans from the Big West. Can you name all of them?
Oh, right. You said 10.
There were 10.
Okay. Maybe I'll just go team by team. Think about it real quick. So, Long Beach, Moni Nikolov obviously made that team.
Mm-hmm.
Skylar Varga, pretty sure he made that.
That's 2.
Anyone else from Long Beach? Did Dieris make it? Dieris McRaven?
Dieris is on there.
All right, that's 3 of them
Second
down.
team.
Okay, second team. I know Kellen Larson didn't. Hershnovich didn't. I'm just going to move on from Long Beach. I don't think I got anyone else there. Hawaii, let's go Tread Rosenthal, Adrian Rohr.
That's 5.
All right. I can't believe I forgot. Tetrisky.
Yeah, he still was in there. He was on the second team.
Yeah.
That's 6. You got 4 more.
4 more. Let's move on to UCI. UCI, we have Hilir Heno, most definitely. Nolan Flexen.
Nolan Flexen, that's 8.
Can't believe I forgot that.
You got 2 left.
2 left. Okay, I think I knew now that I'm down to 2, I think I remember. UC San Diego, Anthony Sherfan.
That's your guy.
Yep. UCSD, baby. Then we move on to CSUN, where it's Jalen Phillips.
Yep, that is all 10.
All right. Took me a second, but we got there. Almost forgot about Christian Tetrisky.
He's been hurt a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a little tough to remember sometimes.
Yeah. All right. And now to stay on the same vein, Michael will be doing the next portion of the All Americans, naming All Americans.
Man, this is tough.
Yeah. So then we have, there are 9 MPSF All Americans. How many of them can you name?
Man, 9 of them. All right, let's get the easy ones. Let's go UCLA. We got Andrew Rowan.
Yep.
We got Cooper Robinson.
Yep.
We got Cam Thorne.
Yep. That's 3.
And Zach Rama.
And that's all 4 of them.
All right, yeah, that was the 4 that I had there.
Yeah.
All right, let's
the big
see.
4.
USC. Parker Tompkinson is on there.
Yep. That's our middle representation,
Yes,
baby.
that's my big man right there.
Yep.
He was doing crazy for a freshman. Mm-hmm. And then Dylan Klein, obviously.
Superman. Then you have
think
3
that's
more.
it. I think that's it for USC.
Yep. So you've got 6 down.
Okay, so now Pepperdine. Ryan Barnett. I think that's got to be the easy one here.
Yep. For sure. First team.
Cole Harkey.
Cole Harkey. Second team.
Okay.
One last one.
Oh, man. Is it also Pepperdine?
It is from Pepperdine.
It is Pepperdine.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm blanking.
I can give you one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind. We already talked about him, so I shouldn't forget that. It's Jacob Riley, the only libero to make it, man.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but he is the only libero to make an All-American team.
Crazy.
Congratulations. And were you guys able to name all of them? Because this list was a little crazy.
3 teams. 3 teams. There were 5 All-Americans from MIVA. Can you name all of them?
Okay. MIVA, a little bit harder, but let's get one out of the way real quick. Parker Van Buren
Boom.
makes the list easily.
Number 1.
Okay, now we got to start thinking.
Still really good teams here, though.
Yeah, for sure. There's more than one Loyola Chicago player for sure. Let me think about it. Let me look at. I guess I'm still on Loyola. Let me just try and get those out. Nico Meyer.
Yep.
I think
Nico
made the
Meyer.
list.
Yep.
Yeah. There's 5 total, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You got 1 more from Loyola.
Okay. Sticking with Loyola. Daniel Fabikovic.
Mm-hmm. That's the pin right there for Loyola.
Yep. And that does it for Loyola. So let me move down the list to... Okay. McKendree has to have someone there.
It would be wrong if they didn't have anyone.
Yeah. I mean, I know they got the Coach of the Year award, but they have to have someone on this list. What was his name? Was it Nathan Flater?
Nathan Flater. He's the setter for McKendree.
Okay.
Last one.
One more. Okay. Let's move down to Ohio State. Let's think about it. Okay. Ohio State. I drafted Vetzel from Ohio State, so he can't be him. Let me come back to Ohio State. He's their best. I just named their best player, and I drafted him in the other draft. Let's move down to Lewis. For Lewis, this is the last player.
Mm-hmm.
For Lewis, their guy was Oguzhan Oguz. So is he on the list?
That is number 5. That is the last player from MIVA.
All right, good job, Miva. Got your representation in. I know you have a lot more on the All American honors. Oh my God, what did I just say? I know you have a lot more on the All American honorable mentions, so a lot more representation there. But 5 on the All Americans is not bad.
Yeah, and you had Ohio State had 2. You had, or actually there might have been more, right? You had Wetzel.
Yep.
Shasinski was also in there. So you had 2 more honorable mentions from Ohio State.
Yeah. McKendree had 2 of their own. They had Yadiel Diaz and De'Aaron McCraney.
So still good representation from Miva here.
Yeah. Miva doing their thing. Patrick Rogers, Ball State. Shout out. But yeah. And I think that means that we have named all the All-Americans. Shocker, they came from the Big 3 conferences. So anyone who wants to give us crap about not covering the other conferences too much, all the All-Americans came from there. What can I say? So,
yeah, that was 18 of the 24 that we just mentioned.
Yep. So, for our blind ranking this week, I have something a little bit fun. It's nothing serious, just a way for me to kind of give some playoff hot takes, some predictions that I don't even necessarily believe, but
Okay.
yeah. Can you blind rank these NCAA playoff predictions based on how fun they would be to see? Okay. So,
I got one. I got one.
well, we'll see if it made my list. First off, we have UCLA three-peats.
Yes. This one would actually be insane. I don't even know the last time this was done. This was a long time ago, right?
Yeah, back in like the 80s or something.
I think
when it was
so.
only a handful of teams.
I think that when they talk about it, they say that it's like in the 80s or something.
Yeah.
Man, honestly, with how I'm feeling about it, this might be the most fun out there. I'm gonna put this at 1.
Okay.
Doing a three-peat with the change, no Spara anymore. I think that this is huge, and changing up the players as well. The roster is completely different because it's been 2 years from when they won the first one. So obviously you have some staples, but there's still a lot of new players in there. So let me put that one at 1.
Yeah, I mean, especially since they struggled through the MPSF tournament, it would be crazy for them to make this comeback. I know a lot of people are hating on them right now, EJ, but yeah, that would be super cool. And let's move on to the next one. So your next prediction would be Pepperdine makes a Cinderella run and wins the championship.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess this is pretty crazy.
It would be crazy, but is it fun? There are other favorite teams on here.
I know.
I don't know how it would be.
I don't want to disrespect Pepperdine here, so this is not me disrespecting them, but I think there are a couple teams that people really want to see win it. So let me put this one at 4. I don't think this is at the bottom because it shouldn't be when a team that's 4 seed, but they did win their conference, so it's not that crazy. They did end up beating UCLA and USC. They beat both the teams that they had to go through, so it wouldn't be too crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll put it at 4.
All right. Very fair. They would have to play a lot of tough teams to get there.
I know, yeah. You got to beat Long Beach. You have to beat Loyola first.
Then
Long Beach. Then maybe Hawaii or UCLA again.
Yeah.
So
stacked run.
Yeah,
it would be one of the
crazy.
Greatest of all time.
It would be pretty crazy, actually.
This would be like Dirk back in 2011.
Yeah, so maybe... Nah, it's fine. I'll leave it at 4.
Okay.
It could be higher, though.
So then your next prediction is a Hawaii-Long Beach rematch in the finals.
This one, I think a lot of people have been expecting that this is going to happen after the conference play.
This is the most realistic one, probably.
Yeah, so...
But is it fun?
I mean, this is what people want. It is going to be fun. But I'm going to say, just because it's not like that much of a hot take either, I feel like people expect this to happen. Or I feel like a good amount of people expect it. We expect this to happen, so... I'll put it at 5, just because of that.
Fair. Yeah. Okay. And then your next one... Actually, first you have 2 and 3 left, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So your next one is all of the semifinals games and the finals game go to 5 sets.
Ooh, honestly, this is what this is what every volleyball fan wants.
Bangers.
Let me put this at 2. I feel like this is going to be so good. This would be awesome. And it wouldn't even matter who wins at that point. I think if they're all 5-setters, it's going to be really good. So
It would be the most entertaining time for us.
For sure. So let's put this one at 2.
All right. Very, very true. Okay. That means at your number 3, your third most fun hot take would be one of Hawaii, UCLA, or Long Beach gets upset in the first round.
Oh my God. Honestly,
That
I
would
don't
be
know.
crazy.
I don't know if that's going to be fun though, because the fans are just going to be really mad. So there's
The
that.
discourse would be insane.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Man, these are all crazy though. Hey, man, if any of these happen, this is gonna be insane. This
we had a lot of crazy predictions.
This would be so
going
cool.
here. Yeah. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about these predictions. Let us know if you have any other crazy predictions. Yeah.
Any NCAA tournament hot takes that we got?
Very, very interesting. But that's all we have for our games this week. The rally round is over. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you made it this far. In the comments, let us know what you think of the All American teams, the All PVF teams. Please let us know if we're out of pocket about these position things. If you agree with how it is, let us know. Let us know why, because we just went on, at least a 20-minute rant about it.
It felt like it. Man,
Yeah.
I had to get that off.
Yeah, so let us know what you guys think about that in the comments. And
Who do you think's gonna win for PVF? Who do you think's gonna take
Yes.
that? And then also, hopefully everyone tunes in and enjoys NCAA men's. This is gonna be a really good tournament.
yep, a lot of good games happening this weekend. We got a weekend full of volleyball. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Stay tuned.
Yes, sir. So thank you again so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.